Today's episode of the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast is brought to you by BioPro, Hidden House Coffee, and Nex Gen Peptides. Enjoy the show.
I'll be honest, like the path that I've been on the past probably 2.5, 3 years is like the silver lining, right? Like everybody has gone through hardships. Some people learn from them. Some people it crumbles them, right? Yeah. And I look at it as like a badge of honor and like, hey, what have you been through and what did you learn from it? Yeah. Like through the past 3 years, for a lot of folks, since COVID has been so difficult, right? As a business owner, like we started our business in our garage during the pandemic. Yeah. And our goal was like, hey, let's not go bankrupt. Yeah. And it evolved to like, what are our goals? And we're like, okay, let's just break even. You know, my wife got pregnant with our fourth kid when we first started the business, or we were still kind of building it. And I was like, the goal is to not go bankrupt during the pandemic because we already pot committed. We put every dollar we had saved, maxed out credit cards into the business, all that. And by the time that we started, it was dead of COVID, August of 2020. And we opened our doors. We're like, all right, like say a prayer, let's open this door and hope that we have customers. Yeah. And we had a customer base around the block for the first couple of weeks. Like, I remember my wife was like about 5.5, 6 months pregnant when we first opened. And she's working the shop, I'm working the shop. We're there like from 6 a.m. to like midnight every day. Yeah. And we have this little warehouse attached to our building. And I go in the warehouse and she was like crying. Thought she was like, you know, humbled and grateful for the success that we had seen this first week without expectations. Right. Her thing was like, dude, I don't know if I can do this every day. Like, I mean, I'm glad that we have this success, but like, I can't work 18 to 20 hours a day. Like we have 3 other kids. It was COVID, so we're homeschooling. Kids were coming to school coming to work with us. And so, I mean, that was kind of how it started. And, you know, we started franchising about 1.5 years later. Yeah. So this isn't the FTD. This isn't a bragging moment, but like our first year in business, we did like 1.3 million in sales. And we were like, our goal was to not go bankrupt. So we felt like so blessed and so like, holy crap, this was a total blessing, not expecting this at all. And from that, we had a lot of people who wanted to franchise. Dang. I didn't even know how to spell franchise at the time. That was never our goal. Our goal was don't go bankrupt. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And so when we started the franchise model, it was like, okay, what do we do? You get a franchise attorney, you find a mentor, you do X, Y, and Z. Right. Long story short, we did all these things. Turned out, you know, not every franchise attorney is the best fit. Yeah. We learned from that. And it went to the point where you open all these stores and, you know, again, recovery of COVID, the first 2 years, like the economy right now is not fantastic. I mean, our cost of goods is probably about 200% what it used to be. Yep. And that affects your margins. So that being said, like we've learned a lot about the economy. We've learned a lot about ourselves. You know, we've had some stores close. We've closed a store that our business personally owned. We had some franchise locations close. And it's like, you know, my thing is I really believe that like in every hardship, if you will just take a moment to not panic, don't hit the panic button just yet, but ask yourself, okay, either A, is this recoverable and how can I fix it? Or B, what can I learn in this situation? And that's what I've really tried to figure out is like, what can I learn here in the hardships of not just being a business owner, but being a husband, being a father, being a son, being a friend. Like I've had relationships fall apart in the last number of years. Sometimes it's me realizing that I've outgrown them or that their lifestyle no longer aligns with mine. I've had, you know, a spiritual journey that has changed dramatically in the last 5-6 years where I thought I always knew who God was, but now I'm realizing I didn't. Mm-hmm. I thought I did, but now I've come to understand, you know, who Jesus Christ is and how that impacts my life and my thoughts. Mm-hmm. I just think life is about evolution, you know, not the Darwin theory of evolution, but constant growth, you know? So yeah, I mean, I'm rambling a little bit, but I think that the goal of my focus is like, I really enjoy the deeper meanings of life and the philosophical conversations that a lot of people consider to be either taboo or they're afraid to express because they don't want to be judged for the way that they think. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, some of the coolest conversations I've had have been with strangers on an airplane talking about life and journeys and struggles and hardships. And like, what did you learn in that? Like the follow-up questions when people express things, like start asking people when they talk about their hardship. If you ask them the first question is like, what did you learn from that? They're like, well, I guess I learned I'm a lot tougher than I thought I was. I guess I probably learned that, you know, God is real because I couldn't have done this alone. And then lastly, I learned X, Y, and Z about P&Ls and balance statements and the importance of running your books correctly and the importance of, hiring the right people, right? Like there's so many lessons to learn in hardship, but we just naturally like fight or flight mode hits and we turn into panic and chaos.
Yeah.
It's like jiu-jitsu, dude. Like it's like UFC, it's like wrestling. Like when you're more composed and you're not panicking and just going for every single desperate move and attempt, like that's when you set yourself up for upsets, right? And it's really, like I said, my goal and my focus the past couple of years has been to find the silver lining in situations that probably would have crippled me 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was cool because I have this group chat with a couple buddies. So we talk about the Bible all the time and like things that we learned. And my buddy sent out this really amazing text and I'm gonna miss the verse and I'm gonna miss the exact how it was spelled out. But it was this point where Jesus, right before he went on the cross, was like, there was this point where he could have just taken everybody and just like basically fixed it in a second. Where it was like, he could have just been like, all right, Father, just take everybody up and we're good. And everyone else can just be screwed and it's fine. But it was almost this insight of just like, hey, life sometimes is going to be hard. There's going to be trials, there's going to be tribulations, but it's also like how you grow through those moments. And then he posed a question to us where he was like, hey, what moments in your life do you wish you could skip and why? And it was like the backing behind that question was like, as I was thinking about it and him and I discussed it later, I was like, yeah, there's so many moments in my life where I wish I could skip or fast forward through. But then I know that on the other side of that, there eventually will come another moment where I'm something is trying to kick my teeth in. And am I going to be better equipped then?
For sure.
If I skip it, no, because then I don't have that growth process in between that made me stronger and healthier and have a better relationship with my family or my wife. And I won't be as equipped to take on the next challenge. Like I've said it before, my family at one point when I was younger, we were homeless and we all moved in this one little spot and everything sucked. And me and my dad ate one meal a day. And it was like, to this day, I would never skip that because one, it made us a closer family unit. And two, it also told me that like, I'm not easily broken by things. And it's like, now I have this crazy superpower where I'll take crazy risks that most people wouldn't take, knowing that like I'm okay with coming out on the other side because I was like, dude, I've already been there. I've already been at nothing. So I know how to come back from nothing.
I love that. What you just said, dude, is like being unbreakable is a superpower. Like imagine what you could do if you weren't afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Well, most people are afraid to lose a job. Right? I mean, my dad used to say this when I was a kid, like two things. A, your boss will never pay you enough to be his neighbor. And B, if you died on Friday, they replace your desk on Monday. And I'm like, that's so true. And people are afraid like, hey, I'm not going to go all in on my goals and my mission and my purpose of life because I've got a 9-to-5 that pays me $80,000 a year. You're like, dude, imagine though, like even if you didn't make the money you wanted, the freedom to be able to do what you want to do, and it's like, it really is a superpower when you're not afraid to fail.
Yeah.
And so many people are afraid to fail. It's like, am I afraid of failure? Like, I guess it would hurt, but I'd be okay.
Yeah.
I'd recover. Like I've told my wife, I'm like, dude, at the end of the day, we've got a marriage of 16 years, we've got 4 healthy kids, and God is good. Okay. Like if I lived in an Airstream trailer with my family on somebody's acre lot, I'll get back to work and build something else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you support me, babe? Yeah. I support you. Yeah. Kids are healthy. Kids, you good? You ate dinner? Your lunch? You good? Okay. Like let's go back to the basics and build something. It's like life is hard. There's no guarantees except death and taxes, right? It's like besides those 2 factors of life, like dude, you're on your own. Like God is there and He'll be there to support you. But at the end of the day, like the choices we make and the goals that we chase, it's up to us. One of my mentors told me a few years ago, when I was going through, when we first started going through some struggles in the business, because we just grew really, really fast. To be honest, we probably grew a little bit faster than we should have, but I was kind of new to franchising, trying to learn how to grow and hustle and manage the business. And I just hired a CEO who had 20 years experience, and she was awesome. And I was telling my mentor, like, hey, dude, this CEO is really expensive. I'm not quite sure if this is the right fit. Trying to learn the business, still trying to be, X, Y, and Z. He said, dude, here's what you got to understand. Like, businesses don't fail, people give up. He's like, if you're willing to find the capital, if you're willing to put in the time, if you're willing to pivot and adapt, like, your business will continue. Like, but you just have to be willing to make changes, to adapt, right? So I've got a picture in my office of, I want to say it's a Joshua tree, but like, imagine Joshua tree setting out in the desert. There's an old Blockbuster building, probably Photoshopped, but it looks vintage and it's there. And people are like, oh, did you go to Blockbuster a lot as a kid? I'm like, I did, but that's not what that's about. It's more about like adapt or die, right? Like, Blockbuster could have been acquired by Netflix and they decided like, nobody's going to rent DVDs in the mail.
Yeah.
They refused an acquisition, X, Y, and Z, and now it's just nostalgia that keeps them alive.
Yeah.
Right? So I think it's being unbreakable and being not afraid of failure, but being willing to fail. You know, I'm afraid of a lot of things, but I'm still willing. I'm terrified of sharks, but I still go diving in North Shore, right?
Yeah.
Open water shark diving terrifies me, but it's being willing to do things that terrify you, you know?
Well, people are also not just afraid of like fear of failure, but it's fear of just uncertainty and fear of unknowing, and like fear dominates every component of some people. And I mean, as like a business owner, as a husband, as a father, so like you said, there's so many things I'm fearful of. I'm fearful that my 3-year-old's going to choke on a small toy when we're in the kitchen.
For sure.
But that doesn't mean I'm not going to buy him toys.
Do you know what? So I heard this years ago. Do you know what fear stands for?
Mm-mm.
So fear is an acronym. It's not really an acronym, but they've made it an acronym, and it's false evidence appearing real.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, if you think about the things that you're terrified of, like, have you ever heard of that happening? Yes. How often does it happen? Not often. I mean, your kid choking on a McDonald's toy. Like, you could be paralyzed in fear to where you don't give your kid anything smaller than the size of, this bottle of water, right? But that's not realistic. And living that way, I believe, like, I think, honestly, Satan wants us to be fearful. He wants us to fear things that are so minute and just almost trivial.
So it can control you.
Paralysis by analysis, dude. Like, imagine if you were afraid to walk across a street because in 1999 your friend got hit by a car.
Yeah.
I'm not going to cross the street. I heard about someone choking on a toy. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to drink coffee because that lady spilt it on her lap at McDonald's. Like, okay, like, dude, imagine being afraid of everything that you've heard about. Like, what are the odds?
Yeah.
Like, people are afraid of flying. I'm like, dude, 9 billion people a year fly. Like, odds are you're okay. And if you're not, like, you lived. You know what I mean? Yeah, you lived,
I remember when our son was first born, my mother-in-law lives with us, and he was doing something, and she was like freaked out he was going to choke on something. And I was like, we have a better chance of an airplane falling out of the sky and crashing into our house than him choking on that right now. I was like, that's the statistic odds. And she was like, really? I was like, yes. I was like, he's fine. Chill.
Highly unlikely. Highly unlikely. Unless it's a Costco hot dog.
Yeah. I was like,
so many people choke on those for some reason. I don't know why. I did when I was like 7. My grandma saved me. Thanks, Grandma.
From a hot dog?
From a hot dog at Costco, bro.
Dude, they say hot dogs aren't hot dogs worse than grapes?
Probably.
And those are like the top 2 for kids or something?
When I was a kid, my mom spilled a hot coffee all over my lap. And by some miracle, I did not get burned. Like, I was a toddler, and she like spilled a hot, like the ambulance came, every sheriff had to come and do a report. Like, that's because my mom used to like drink super. But yeah, it doesn't stop me from drinking coffee.
Sure.
Or does it?
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
That's the thing, though, bro. Life is just such it's a conundrum, man. It's like everything is built by constraint. Everything is overly complicated, and it's like, you've heard the phrase that never take advice from somebody that you wouldn't trade places with, right? And it's like the people who are telling you to be fearful likely were taught that from the environment they grew up in, or they had a bad experience. That doesn't make it your environment or your experience. Like, if I listened to every person before we opened our business, I said, like, dude, the business is really risky. Like, my friend owned a business, they lost it, and they went bankrupt, and he's still recovering 7 years later. I'm like, yeah, dude, like, I have family members who had great businesses and either sold them, failed, got acquired, continued to run them. Like, that's life, dude.
My question, actually, both of you guys, is: do you think that the lack of fear or the ability to push past fear is because of the times that you've failed, and that's what's led to that, or like quote unquote failed, and that's what's led to that, or is that something do you feel like you've been born with, or that was instilled in you from a young age?
I'll let you go first.
So I actually just had this conversation with my mom the other night. I talked to my mom 1 or 2 days a week on the way home from my work or her
That's
work,
cool.
and we'll just chat and stuff and catch up and talk about family. And, how's my sister who's been, she was a homeless fentanyl addict her story's crazy. You should have her on the podcast, even though she's not a dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her story's crazy. She's been sober for about a year and a half now.
Man.
And so I was talking to my mom, just getting updates on her. We talked about this. I'm like, I don't know if people who are not afraid to fail, I don't know if it's something that you can learn through either failing or succeeding, or if it's something that you're born with. And maybe being born with it is more of a chemical imbalance that you just learn to adapt into a superpower. But maybe there is something different with us psychologically, because, dude, it is terrifying. Like, it really is. There's things that is this normal? Is it normal to be going through these experiences and still be competing with myself to overcome struggles? Like, a lot of people would have given up years ago. Like, hey, dude, your profit margins have sucked for a year straight because commodities have gone up 200%. Like, your business is failing. I'm like, sales are there, margins are struggling, so we'll figure out how to adapt and make changes to continue to build and grow the business successfully. But, like, it's not fun. It's not enjoyable. Taking home much less than you did the first couple of years in business. Like, it's just the way the economy is. That alone terrifies people. Like, decrease in pay, loss of job, right? Like, it's very much a mental game. I think life is, it's a game, right? Like, that's the way I always look at it.
Yeah, I like that. I was actually going to say something similar-esque, where I think the fear that paralyzes people, is something that you're born with, like the ability to not let it affect you. But I also think it can be learned through hardship and trial and error, and not just being afraid to do it. But we relate a lot of stuff back to how we grew up.
Sure.
And I'm looking at like my life, and for me, the ability to just take risks comes from my dad. Like, Jordan, you have the ability to take risks because you grew up and hit rock bottom and had nothing, right? So for you, it's like, if I go back there, I've already done it. And same as like when I look at my childhood, my parents owned their own company for 30-something years, and I grew up watching my parents grind it out, right? Like, we're in a 2-bedroom condo, and then, they're starting this business, and my grandma's raising me because they're trying to work to provide something that they thought they needed to do for their family. And then that grew, and then it grew, and then they had setbacks, and then they grew. And then, but that was my childhood. For me, it was
Normal.
Oh, it was normal. My parents are grinding, but when they choose to just take a day off, they get to do that.
For sure.
And, but the seeing them grind things out, have major wins, major falls, but never letting it stop them is something that I grew up with. So for me, after the Marine Corps, I already just gambled with my life. Like, what else is going to happen?
Might as well gamble with my money too.
Yeah. And so I do think I grew up in that, but I think there's also, after 9/11 happened, I had friends that, because we were in 8th and 9th grade when it happened, and I already knew I was going to be a Marine. I already knew it. And I remember having conversations with my 8th grade history teacher, who asked me to come speak at Veterans Day a couple months ago. And I remember him talking to me. He's like, hey, like, does this stuff change for you? Like, are you still going to go? I was like, yeah, absolutely. Why wouldn't I? He's like, I'm just wondering because, like, obviously the world just fell apart, and we're now in a time of war, and we will still probably be there by the time you go. And I was like, yeah, I said I'm going to do it. And so, like, that was an example for me, I think, as like a young kid, not letting fear take over my life. And it's something so simple as like, I said I was going to do it, so I did it. And then, you get there, and that's where I think I learned personally the first version of myself and the first refining process of not letting fear control you. Because, bro, I was so scared when I first got to Iraq, terrified.
Yeah.
Like, but you put this front up, your buddy next to you is like also freaking out, but you're all like, oh yeah, we're going, we're ready. Yeah. But dude, I was so scared. Like the first patrol I went on, I got voluntold to get up in the turret, and I was like, I don't want to go in the turret. I'm gonna be the first one to die. Like, take me out. I don't want to be up here. And I just remember, like, I'll never forget this feeling. And sometimes I think about it, not often anymore, but it used to live in my head rent free for a long time. But being in the turret, I remember adjusting the seat. It's basically like a really wide seat belt is what the seat is in a turret, because you can't sit, right? You need to be able to get up, spin around, move.
Yeah.
And I remember adjusting it as we're driving, because I didn't really want anyone to see me doing it, because, I'm tough, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to adjust the seat so it's slower and lower and lower. So my head was as equal as the armor around me.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, I'm not trying to be a sitting duck. So I just remember like sinking so low. It's probably why I have such bad posture now. But I just remember like that fear of like, we're driving through Ramadi, and I'm this 19-year-old kid from Orange County, California, who's never experienced any of this. I've never gone down a street and seen, the things that we're driving through are bullet holes everywhere. It's like a video game.
Yeah.
And I remember just trying to sink so low into that seat without nobody noticing, because I was so freaking terrified. And that was like my first taste of like, oh, dude, like fear is also healthy. Like it's causing me not to stand up and just like, hey, I'm here, shoot me. But it was also controlling how I was doing it. And so I'm now rambling, but I think just fear can control, and I think it's something you can learn.
And cautious.
Yeah,
right?
maybe we've been saying it wrong, where it's like, I was actually telling my son this yesterday. We were at the playground and he was trying to jump off something, and this is something, it's actually what I wrote the first Good Dude, Good Dad Kids book about, where I was like, he was like, I'm scared. And I was like, well, Hudson, being brave isn't about not being scared. It's about being scared and choosing to do it anyway. And I think maybe that's a better thing or a better definition of what we're talking about. Because I don't think, like, I think you told us earlier, like you had 3 kids, you were having your 4th kid when you guys started the cookie business. You had another business that was successful that had just closed down. It's like, I doubt in that moment you weren't fearful at some point, but the ability to push past it, like how?
So, I mean, I think, and it's a great point, I think you get battle scars from doing what's hard. And if a business fails, like you're calloused, right? But you've also already experienced failure. So now you're like, well, what's my option, right? I've got to build this. I have to do this, right? So like, I think a lot of the times too, like, I've got, I talked to my wife about this, and I said, when we're talking about business, when we're talking about with either business partners or anybody, it's like, I don't like when people use the word, we've got a problem. I'm like, what is a problem? Like, no, we've got a challenge. Like, as a challenge, for me, I'm like, the way that the words you say become your reality. And if you constantly say, we've got a problem, 911, we've got a serious issue. Like, what is it? Well, this happened. I'm like, okay, so this is a challenge. Can we overcome this? We're going to be fine, right? And so like, whether it be fear, whether it be pain, whether it be problems, there's a word that can be used for all of those, and it's really just discomfort. And naturally, as human beings, we look for the path of least resistance, the most comfortable position possible, whether it be lowering your seat in the turret, whether it be me adjusting from my left to this, like whether it be avoiding hard conversations with my spouse or my business partner or my friends or colleagues or whoever. Like whatever it is, we look for the path of least resistance to be the most comfortable. That's in our DNA as human beings, right? From cavemen to today, right? And I think for me, I'm like, if you're constantly looking for ways to be comfortable all the time, you'll never grow, right? Like Jocko Willink talks about this kind of stuff all the time, right? Joe Rogan talks about this. Like a lot of guys that I've read books on or listen to podcasts or guys who I admire in business, they talk about this. Like, dude, the only way to grow is through going through hard things that you would prefer not to go through.
For sure.
Like Mike Tyson, he says it all the time. Discipline is doing what you hate like you love it.
Yeah.
That's going to the gym. That's showing up for work. That's going to work as a business owner where when you haven't paid yourself for 3-4 weeks, right? Like that's hard. It's not fun, but you do it like you love it for long enough, and you'll start to get those calloused hands and those battle scars that I'm going to be successful. I'm going to figure this out. It's not a problem. It's a challenge. Challenges can be overcome, right? I'm going to level up. I'm going to learn. I'm going to grow. I'm going to adapt. I'm going to evolve, and we'll figure this out.
Yeah,
that's
good.
Being a dad, being a husband. I mean, my first time I was married, bro, getting married is a major life change that comes with so many challenges. You could argue problems in that scenario, but like, dude, being married as a husband, never being married before at 24 years old, you're like, what the heck, dude, this chick, sometimes I feel like she's a little bit crazy. Like, you leave the toothpaste lid off all the time. Like, you don't close the door. You leave the lights on. Like, what are we talking about, right? Like, these aren't problems. They're challenges, you know? And last thing I'll say is, one of the things that has been blowing my mind, speaking of just husbands and fathers, is I've been seeing this really weird trend on social media where you've got guys talking about how the bravest thing they did was walk away from their marriage, walk away from their kids. Have you seen these things?
Yeah.
Bro, it blows
crap.
my mind. I'm like, dude, that's actually the weakest, most pathetic thing I can imagine.
That's the world we're living in right now, though, unfortunately.
Absolutely.
But that's one of the things I feel like that keeps Jordan and I coming back to this studio. We have fun, but I think these stories and these conversations genuinely matter. And it doesn't matter if one person hears it. Like, if that one person got something.
Well, there's millions of people who need to hear these kinds of conversations so they know, like, okay, I'm glad I'm not alone.
Yeah.
I thought I was crazy. Like, there's other guys having a podcast about these topics. Like, and again, like you said, it's the starfish theory, dude. Like, you can't save every starfish on dry land, but you can save that one, right? And Good Dude, Good Dad, any podcast, any book on self-discipline, like, if I were to write a book today and one person read it and it saved him from, committing suicide or being a better husband and father, like, it was worth writing that book.
For sure.
You don't have to change the world, but if you can change a life that has a ripple effect, a butterfly effect, like, that's gold.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I told you earlier, like why I started this podcast, but another aspect of it was I had a friend of mine who, talked a big game, and I found out that he had been cheating on his wife they had multiple kids throughout the entire time. And it really turned into me doing little angry rants in my garage. I joke around that it was my Papa Smurf moment. I would just angry rant in my garage. But it was mostly about just my dying passion for men to be better. Like, it's like you just need, like, that whole, what you just said, like, the hardest thing you ever did was to walk away. No, that's a bunch of crap. You need to stand up and act like a man. Like, everybody Pastor Joby says this, Joby Martin, he says, everyone wants to be jacked, nobody wants to be sore. And,
I hate being sore.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But, I mean, these conversations are needed, and more people need to be like, no, that's a bunch of crap. Like, yeah.
So last November, I don't, as you can tell, I don't run. Cardio is not my strength.
Okay. I'm with you.
I hate it, bro. For me, growing up, wresting through college, running was punishment.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I just have to run. Like, my wife runs marathons, like, around the world.
Goodness
like
gracious.
she's going to Rome next month. She loves running.
Jacked cookies and had 4 kids. Your wife's a superhero.
Dude, my wife
Seriously?
We need to have
she's
her on.
Dude, you should. She's Wonder Woman, dude. She literally keeps me grounded and saves me from myself daily. But that being said, so she runs, and so, like, my son, who's 11, bigger kid, not overweight, just a bigger kid, tallest kid in his class, plays soccer, does jiu-jitsu, things like that, doesn't run, right? Well, he's like, Dad, I think I want to do a half marathon with Mom. I'm like, all right. He's 10 at the time. I'm like, you should do it. And my wife's like, you should do it with him. I'm like, I've never done a half marathon in my life. Like, I don't run at the treadmill at the gym. Like, I don't do that. She's like, you should do it. You guys got to start training. So he starts training with her. And I'm like, all right, I'm not going to train at all. I'm going to do this out of spite. Like, this is going to be easy. I'm going to do this. And so it was the Big Bear Marathon. And
Big Bear too?
Oh, at Elevation?
So Elevation is a point.
Elevation.
The benefit is a lot of it is downhill.
Okay.
There's some uphill, but a lot of it's downhill.
Elevation.
Elevation's a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, he can train with you. I'll buy some shoes and down a Red Bull before I'll be good, right? So we're running, and for me, like I said, dude, like, I just get in these weird mental games with myself, dude. Like, where I did a half Ironman in Phoenix, Arizona, without training. Okay, my goal was to finish.
Yeah.
And I beat a lot of people. I didn't place, didn't come in a great time, but I'm just going to do it. Never did that before, did it. So the half marathon, my son's like, we're about mile 3. And he had been training. He got up to about 9-10 miles with my wife, about 3-4 months. And he's like, Dad, like, he said, you didn't train him. I said, no. He's like, this is, for me, dude, I want to it's mental. Like, it's just mental. And so about mile 3, he's like, Dad, my legs hurt. Can we walk? I said, no. He's like, Dad, mile 4, like, hey, my legs hurt. Dad, this is really hard. I'm like, no, dude, this is Saturday, bro. This is not hard. Like, you're going to be okay. And I think, like, we naturally want to be, like, nurturing to our children, but it's like the most valuable lessons you can do with your children as a father is encourage them to do what's hard.
Yeah.
And make it normal. Like, dude, this isn't hard, bro. This is Saturday. Hard is going to Iraq. and seeing the things that you see there. Hard is, dealing with X, Y, and Z or serious challenges, right? We're running downhill for 70% of this. Like, is it challenging? Yes, but you're going to do it. Dude, like, he was the youngest person to ever complete the marathon. We did it in about 2 hours and 12 minutes.
Dang.
He freaking crushed it.
Yeah.
And people the whole time, like older men, older women, younger folks, people of all shapes, ages, sizes, were like taking pictures with him and saying like, dude, this is so cool. Bro, he still talks about that. Like, it was the highlight of his life. And he talks about it as if like, Dad, remember we did that marathon and you kept on saying that like, this wasn't hard, this was Saturday. Why did you say that? It's like, because it was just a Saturday morning and you had the chance to go on a marathon and do it, the youngest person to ever do it. Like, that's cool, man.
Yeah.
Be proud of yourself, So like, just do what's hard, bro.
One of my
Probably never will. So that's, he did something I'll never do
Yeah.
at a quarter of my age.
I will confirm that the rest of his life he will talk about that, because I remember there was my dad, I had committed to do something, didn't want to do it. My dad said, no, you're going to do it. And I remember I was like 8 years old, and I was like, literally, I worked myself up to the point I was vomiting. And my mom was like, get him in the car. Like, legitimately, and my mom's like she's like 5'2", white Hispanic lady.
Okay.
Like, you just don't mess with her.
Sure.
And my dad went toe to toe. He's like, no, he is going. He's like, get your butt out of the car. You are going. And he was like, wipe the puke off of your face, spit the rest out of your mouth, and let's go. And it was one of the best things. I remember that day so vividly. And yet it was one of the best things he ever did for me, because I learned so much about myself that day.
What you're capable of, right?
And I tell him all the time, I go, Dad, one of my favorite, and we've done a lot of cool things. I was like, Dad, one of my favorite moments is when you forced me to do that. And he was like, I had no idea that was going to play out. I was like, that's something I've pulled from the rest of my life, and because of that moment. And so, yeah, I heard someone say the other day that it's a mother's job to nurture their son and to see the boy, but it's a dad's job to see the man that he needs to become.
Sure.
And
Love
sometimes we're at odds with each other over that. I know me and my wife are at times, but we know that life is not going to be easy on a young man as he gets older. No. And so to teach them to do hard things early and to train their mind to push past what they think they can do early will serve them so much greater later on in life. But yeah dude, you did. I mean, I know he'll talk about that the rest of his life because I'm 35 and that happened to me at 8. Yeah. And I still tell my dad that all the time. And he was like, I'm still so proud of you,
Yeah. That's awesome.
And it was a cool father-son moment, dude.
Yeah.
Like to do this together and to see him. I mean, he didn't walk at all. I made a deal with him. I said, we can walk for 10 seconds at water stations where you grab water, but you continue to take steps forward. You don't stop. Yeah. So that was the goal. Like, that was what we did. And we did a good job, and he finished it, and he was stoked, And I think, like I said, a good friend of mine years ago, he's got 3 boys, and they're all absolute studs, okay? Like Division I wrestlers around the country at Ohio State and all this stuff, right? And I remember one time we went on a double date with him and his wife, and I forget what had happened exactly, but him and his wife, not an argument, but they got in a little bit of a disagreement with us. My wife and I were in the back seat, and one of the sons had called about doing this, but he didn't do something he was supposed to do for wrestling. So his dad said no. His mom was trying to say yes. And she said, you got to go easier on these kids. He said, you can go easy on the kids. I'm raising men. And I'm like, so I was thinking about that. I'm like, okay, I've got 3 boys now. And I'm like, this world will chew you up and spit you out if you are not prepared for it. Yeah. And it's like, I'm all good with them being like emotionally and mentally and spiritually sound, but there's also a physical and a mental aspect to it that does require a certain level of toughness. And I think that level of toughness has been kind of pushed to the side for being more kind and nurturing, right? Like, I'm not a huge fan of Jordan Peterson. I think he has some great bits, but one of the things he talks about is, being, there's nothing good about being, I forget the exact terminology, but it's like a good man can, what is it? A good man is capable of violence, but chooses to be good.
Oh, yeah.
A man who's incapable of doing violence is not a good man. He has no other choice. He's just a weak man who's passive and kind. Like, something to that effect, right? And I'm like, Joe Rogan always says, I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war, right? And I'm like, all right, like, I like that mindset. And for some people, like, that sounds like toxic masculinity. I'm like, I guess. To me, it just sounds like the men that I admired when I was a boy. Yeah. Like, when I was a kid, I was like, dude, Mike Tyson, my dad was a sergeant at Folsom Prison. Like, dudes were dudes back when I was a kid, right? Like
Yeah.
Mr. T was awesome. Freaking Rocky. I can't tell you, I memorized every part of that movie when I was like 6 years old,
Yeah.
right? That's who I grew up in. Now it's like guys, no disrespect, but guys wearing pearl necklaces and painting their fingernails. I'm like, that's a different world that I don't understand. You know, to each their own.
Yeah,
But
we've talked about that.
Yeah, we're talking about that a lot.
I want to go back and ask you something though,
Yeah.
because we missed some of the backstory. I like how this podcast just started. You just
Oh,
crushed it at the beginning. But we're with Matt from Cookie Co. And your cookies are delicious.
It's
Thank
funny.
you.
I was editing our last episode, and I was like, I need to stop getting so caught up on like trying to
intro?
do an intro. And I was like, because there's especially lately, we hit so many good conversations
Just
when we're just
flying, yeah.
going, and I'm like, why do I always stop us to do the
Well,
intro?
I also had stopped us too, so I'm at fault for that
no,
too.
No. I'm just saying that's why I like earlier. I was just like, I'm gonna make a conscious effort to like just let
go.
it go.
Yeah, that's why I hit record when you
Yeah.
guys were talking. But I do want to ask you though. A lot of what you're talking about in the terms of mindset and just like it's just Saturday mentality. I don't. There's not a lot of people that have that. Just innately have that. How did you get to the point where you're at with that right now? Like what in your life got you to the point that was just like, hey, I have this mindset. I'm not going to train for this half marathon, but I'm going to do it. Like where does that stem from for you?
That's a good question. I think I go back to, two parts. My dad has always been a huge inspiration for me.
Okay.
A little bit of background on like just where that comes from. So my dad's dad passed away when he was 4 years old.
Oh shoot.
My grandmother became an alcoholic, abandoned him and my aunt, and he grew up in a very crazy household with an uncle who later died in San Quentin for murder. He was part of some pretty heavy motorcycle gangs and this and that, and a heroin dealer and all this stuff, right? And so like my dad grew up in like a horrible setting,
Yeah.
just a horrible setting. And then he had me, and it was like he did the very best that he could as a dad and a husband, as a human being, given what he grew up around. And it's like when I was a kid, you would hear about people who's like, oh yeah, they grew up in a really just tough upbringing.
Yeah.
I'd be like, that doesn't sound that bad compared to like my dad's, right? And my dad's mindset was like, dude, you can do anything you want to do. You just have to decide to take your first step, and then your second, your third, your fourth. Like he was the opposite of his family. Most of his family, like all of my aunts and uncles and grandparents, except for my dad's father, alcohol and drugs ruined their lives. And my dad went the opposite route. He joined the police academy, military, sergeant at Folsom Prison, did that whole route and stuff, you know. And he was very much about like, hey, like you can beat the odds. Whatever the odds are, whatever society or whatever people label you as, like you can beat those, right? So I think that was an aspect of it in terms of just overcoming, and like life is hard and like you're guaranteed nothing.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for my dad and what he instilled on me because of what he went through. Are there things that he could have and should have done differently as a father with me? Probably, right? But he did the best he could given his circumstances and his situation, right? So I think that's one part of it. I think the other part is we moved a ton when I was a kid, like a ton. I think I went to 10 schools
Oh shoot.
from kindergarten to my senior year, right? So it's like I was always the new kid. So I got good at talking to people, networking, making friends, but also like accepting change and not being afraid of change. Where I think a lot of people are like, oh, I've planted roots here, I've got to stay. It's like, nah, dude, you'll make new friends. You'll be okay, right? So just kind of like that mindset of like, expect change, overcome challenges, you know? Like it could always be worse. And at the end of the day, it's up to you. Like, do you want to be successful? Do you want to be happy? Everyone's definition of success is completely different. Like all three of us have a lot in common, but I guarantee you to ask each of us what our definitions of success is, it would be pretty dang different, right? And so I think to answer your question, I think it's really just, we're all products of our environment to an extent.
Yeah.
And I think you either learn from by example, or you can also learn from like what you don't want to be or what you don't want to do, right? So I think a lot of it comes from my dad, just him raising me the way he did. He did a great job with my mom and dad both, but my dad specifically taught me a lot about being resilient and being not being afraid of challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that. We literally talk about all the time, and I just said it to my wife yesterday. We were driving home from Big Bear, Which I don't know how you did that, dude. I was winded going up the stupid mountain bunny slope thing. I was like, what's wrong with me? But we were literally talking about, we were listening to Bodie's episode on the way down. And they just like, you go first.
That's I was going to reference that, so go for it. You're
right.
going the same direction I was going to go, so go for it.
But it's just like we talk about like how, and it sounds so dumb to say out loud, but this is the world we're living in, how much of an impact we have as fathers and a mother, as parents. Or, you know, like my wife, her dad was in and out, drugs, the whole, am I not good? You know, like just not a good guy, not a good dad. And she had other men around her, though, that stepped up. But even with them stepping up, none of them were her dad. And so those scars that she just acquired, she didn't even know how they affected her until she saw me be a dad to our children. And it just goes back to, like, the importance of being an example and like, genuinely, like, we have the ability to do some really good in our children, and we also have the ability to do some really bad in our children.
For sure.
But say the Bodie part, what you were going to say.
No, I was going to say, like, what I pulled from that story is from that same episode, Bodie talked about, he's like, the dragons that you don't slay as a father, your son will have to fight.
For sure.
And it was so cool hearing how your perspective of your dad, because your dad had to slay some crazy dragons. And I was like thinking to the listener out there that, you know, who grew up in an upbringing just like your dad, you know, and you're trying to battle those dragons so that it doesn't affect your son. You're living proof of what that can look like, where, you know, hey, maybe you're the generation that's battling all those dragons, and then you get to set your son up for success and a mindset, you know, instill in him a mindset that will serve him really well later in life, you know. And it's like, so like, to the listener out there, that's, you know, you're the one. And I love that you said, you're like, are there things that my dad could have done differently or better? 100%.
For sure.
And that's the thing, is that if you're the person that's battling those dragons for your family right now, and you're like, man, sometimes I just don't feel like I'm crushing it as a dad, that's okay. None of us are perfect.
Nobody's perfect. You know?
Nobody's perfect.
To that point, it's like two things. I saw this quote years ago, and it stuck with me, and I saw it floating around on social media a few months back. And it was part of growing up is realizing your parents were growing with you.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like that was my dad's first time raising a son. I'm his only son. I've got two younger sisters, right? And it's like, I was on a podcast a few years ago, and we were talking about, you know, like this level, like this unrealistic expectation for perfection, right? Or it's not worth doing if you can't do it right or do perfect. And it's like this paralysis by analysis mindset. I was like, what is that one book where this dude wrote it? And it's like this book that if you read this book every day, you'll never make a mistake and your life will be perfect. What's that book called? He's like, I don't know. What is that? It's like, dude, it doesn't exist, bro. There's no book in the world written by anybody that if you read that book daily, your life will be flawless, right? Yeah. So I think it's important to accept that, you know, the world is going to throw wrenches your way, and it's about how you respond to them. And then your point, you know, about that generational thing. I was looking at my phone, not because I was getting texts, because it's my screen, it's my phone saver. It says, if you think you're behind, your bloodline waited centuries for a man like you to finally wake up.
Let's go.
Yeah. That's like my screensaver, and it's been that way for months, because I'm like, dude, like, I feel behind all the time. I feel challenged. I'm like, dude, like, you are the conduit between your ancestors and your posterity. Yeah. And right now in this moment, you are the ripple effect of your father, your grandfather, your great-grandfather. All of them made sacrifices for you to be here. Yeah. And you're making sacrifices for your son. And it's a ripple effect, right? Like, it's an interesting concept when you look at, like, what you do today affects your kids. They may not see this podcast. They may not see the stories. They may not see these episodes. But your goal is to be a better husband, a better father, right? To raise them to be better sons. And my goal, I tell my kids all the time, my son, Riker, he's 9. He's our wild child. Like, we've got Reagan.
We all have them.
Dude, yeah, I got one.
my daughter is 14, and she's the sweetest, plays guitar, loves art. She's the sweetest. She's I have one daughter, and I think that I only needed one because she's perfect for me.
Yeah.
I've got 3 sons because they're heathens. So my son Reagan is 11. He's like in gate, very smart, very analytical. Like he's way too smart for his age. I've got Riker who's 9, who like wants the long mohawk mullet and is just the crazy one. And he's like, Dad, like I want to be just like you. I'm like, don't say that. Like your goal is to be better than me, dude. And I want that. Like I'm the only man in the world who wants you to be better than me. Like your father is the only man who will root for his son to be better than him, right? And so like, I think for me, like I've got another son named Parker who's 4, and it's like my goal is for all of them to be better than me in whatever aspect, mentally, spiritually, physically, financially, every way, right? And it's like not that I'm a bad person or I'm not good at these things, but like I want them to learn from both my successes and my failures of like, hey, if I could write a book on how to be more perfect, not perfect, these are the steps I would take and these are the landmines I would avoid, right?
Yeah. No, I think when we stop, or if you're someone that's listening and you don't have that mentality of trying to be better now yourself as a man, that way your children can see that and they can be better than what you're even trying to be, then I think we're missing the mark there. And kids are sponges, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like literally, I don't know. I've told Jordan before, but they do it so much more now. My 2 boys, 3 and 4, they all the time, out of nowhere, like, oh, it's the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast. And like out of nowhere. And they'll like mimic us, right? And then my wife will be like, oh, like, hey, Walker, who are you today? And he's like, I'm just a good dude, like instead of picking one of us. But dude, they're 3 and 4.
Yeah.
But they're emulating things that they just see and hear. Obviously, they don't fully get it.
Sure.
But they've heard it enough, and it's literally so funny. It's a Good Dude, Good Dad podcast, and then they'll put a hat on and be like, "Oh, I'm Jordan," and I'm like, dude, the kids are just. I'm saying that because like we've said it so many times, and so many guests have said it, but your kids are watching.
Oh yeah.
Right. It's genuinely things are going to be caught instead of taught, which is something we say all the time, but I don't understand, or I don't think people understand especially if you're not a parent, how powerful that is. Because what you're saying, you're giving your dad and your mom, but your dad, a lot of the praise for getting you to where you're at.
For sure.
I also do the same thing with my dad. Jordan does the same thing with his dad. My wife wants me to be the opposite of her dad. You know what I mean? And it's those things. She doesn't want that, but I'm speaking for her. She does want that, but you know what I mean? Like,
and that's kind of what I was saying earlier is like, you know, even though she wants you to be the opposite of her dad, there's still invaluable lessons on that, right? Like you learn from both their successes and their failures, right? Like some of the most valuable lessons you'll learn in life will come from the hardest times and points of failure, right? And I think that for me, like I said, I go back to the idea of like nothing in this life is guaranteed except for death and taxes, right? For me, I look at like, if I can do one thing, first of all, I am not a perfect husband or father or human being. But I'm very conscious and aware of areas where I need to make improvements, right? Sometimes after a very stressful day at work, one of my sons will, you know, get on my nerves and I'll snap at him. Dude, not right now, buddy. Like, not right now. Not a good time, right? And I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. I should have been like, hey, give me a few minutes. Let me just go upstairs. Let me just, you know, whatever. And my 4-year-old Parker, he's a big kid. He's the tallest kid. He's a husky kid. Like he's the funniest little heathen. He actually, not to say he went viral, but like he literally went viral and was on the US Weekly like 2 weeks ago because he'll be in boxer briefs laying on my bed next to my wife and I'll walk in and be like, why is there a 40-year-old man on my bed?
Oh, because dude, I saw that.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
So that was my son. That was Parker.
No way.
Yeah. And so like, he's huge, okay? And so like, we did this thing when he was young. He'd be like, Dad. Like we have a part of our house where the ceiling's like 8.5 feet tall. I said, Dad, pick me up and put my feet on the ceiling. So I'll pick him up and put his feet on the ceiling and make him walk. Well, now I'll grab his hips and flip him on the side and bounce his butt on the ceiling as I walk through the hallway. And he thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. And like, he's not a light kid. He weighs like 75 pounds.
At 4.
He's 4, dude. He'll be 5 in February, March.
Yeah.
But
if he is as big as he looked in that video,
bro,
he
he's
is
huge.
massive.
He's
huge. You're a
huge.
big dude too. How tall are you?
I'm 6'4". Yeah. Okay. But he's by far the biggest 4-year-old ever. Okay.
Yeah.
He was like my height.
Bro, he might be.
He might be.
Like,
That's
dude,
not. It's not saying much.
Hey,
but
so
yeah.
it's on my wife's Instagram, and just go watch the video. Read the comments from people, dude.
Yeah.
Like the comments are
Are they mean or funny?
they're hilarious. They're like, that guy is. There's no way he's 4. That guy just got done working a night shift, graveyard shift at a warehouse. That guy's supporting two kids and a mortgage. Like, just people in the comments are just hilarious. But like, I tell my wife all the time, like, all right, there's gonna be a point when he doesn't want me to pick him up and put his butt on the ceiling.
Right.
Until he outgrows that, I want to be able to do that. So when he asks me,
Dude.
I do it, right?
Yeah.
And that's just a dumb thing in my head, you know? And it goes back to like my dad and your dad and all of our dads. Like one of the reasons why I wanted to be an entrepreneur is like, so that my kids have a sporting event, like I'm not missing it.
Yeah.
I'm there. Like my dad was a great dude. I was a good wrestler and a pretty good football player, much better at wrestling. He missed some amazing wrestling matches and tournaments where I got first place and, 5-0, won all 5 matches by pinfall, right? And like he missed it because he was stuck at work. And that's not a knock on him. He was doing the best he could. But for me, it's like, I don't want my kids to look in the stands, but I wish my dad was here, right? So that's I don't know where I was going with that, but that's the thing is, it's all about finding ways to be there for your kids, right? Yeah. And a lot of what you learn as a father is what you wish your dad did or didn't do as a father. Right.
There's a trend going around right now of a meme that's like, one day someone will tell your kids you're just like your dad. And is that a compliment or an insult? And I'm like, how true that is. I hope my son sees that as a compliment. That's like one of my goals every single day. And
Did you see it?
Yeah. I told you, dude.
What are the comments I just saw? I didn't mean to cut you off, but one of the comments was like, are you feeding him other 4-year-olds? I was like, there's no way.
So that's my wife's hobby is like anytime I send her something, she immediately goes to the comments
for
section.
sure. I do too.
I didn't do that up until like a month ago, and now that's all I do.
Hey, I promise you, as great as the video may be, the comments are better.
Yeah.
Dude.
Is dad
Like
a
one of the
fallen angel?
One of them says, his dad must be a Nephilim. His dad's a fallen angel. Like, all this stuff about like, where did you grow up? Like, are you Scottish? Are you a Viking? But then like one of them's like, you should be expecting a call from USC any moment.
Dude, he's huge.
Yeah.
Oh,
5-year-old commits to USC.
Dude, my poor 4-year-old.
Hey.
My 4-year-old's like the size of a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Bro, Parker is a
opposite.
giant, dude. He's a giant. Like, I make my other boys work out. Like they go to we have just a small gym in our garage. And they'll, I make them, they can't do pull-ups yet, so I just make them do dead hangs, right?
Yeah.
Things like that. And Parker wants to do it because his older brothers do,
Yeah.
So it's just funny watching him try to keep up at his age and just his size of how he is trying to like do things. So, but yeah, dude, he's a giant 4-year-old. Bro.
That's amazing.
Giant.
I love that.
Yeah. He's
Oh,
hilarious.
man. Well, this is not the way I thought our podcast would go, but I'm actually super stoked because I think there's just like there's a lot of talk out in the world, right? And we were saying that's how it got us started, but we were saying, people are going to see, the quote unquote success that you have now. They don't see the grind that it took, the years of hard work, the sacrifice that it takes, the behind the closed doors, even though you might have quote unquote current success now, they don't see what the weight of it can do. And you posted that thing yesterday about how, on our Instagram, he posted a reel that was, even though he might not show it, like
I saw that.
The weight is heavy.
Yeah,
Like and I don't think people understand that, whether it doesn't matter what you're going through, but the life choices that we make are heavy, and it's just the reality of it. And to kind of just have this podcast today go in the way of like, you have the ability and the choice to decide what you're going to do. It's just a matter of, are you going to do it? Like
Perspective.
Yeah.
That's all it is, dude.
Yeah,
Like, it really is.
Dude, listening to you say for not training for a half marathon in Big Bear and just like encouraging your son to be like, yo, it's just another Saturday. Like, I need to tell myself that sometimes,
Well, I did it last November. I did the same marathon again. My son didn't do it this time because he didn't train. He didn't feel comfortable doing it in the sense of like, he's like, hey, I haven't done it at all. I haven't trained with mom. Like, I don't know if I want to do it. My wife's like, hey, you probably shouldn't do it this time. I'm like, I think you should. And because he doesn't want to, I was like, I'm going to do it for you. Okay, dude?
Yeah.
And he's like, but Dad, I want to do it. I'm like, you said you're not ready. Do you want to do it? Or is I'm nervous. I'm like, that's okay that you're nervous. Like, but you've got a couple weeks to decide if you want to do it or not. And he decided not to. And I was like, okay, like I'm still doing it. And not only that, I'm going to do it better than I did last year with no training. even though I'm nervous and I'll probably throw up along the way.
Yeah.
But I'm going to book it and I'm going to be at our time from last year. And he's like, okay. So I went and did it and I beat our time. My goal was to get 2 hours flat. I did 2:04.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, dude, 8-minute, 30-second something miles for 13.1 without training.
1, like
But,
that's.
dude, but here's a fun thing, dude. I'm the biggest dude in the marathon.
I could see that.
Yeah.
6'4", 245, 250. Like,
That's not blowing me away. That
Yeah. You're a pretty
guess
big
not.
especially after seeing your son. Yeah, I'm not.
dude, but like I'm not built for running,
Right.
and I'm not even good at it. Like I'm not a good runner, but I'm like, for me, it's mental. Like I'll be talking to like other dudes. I'm like, hey, dude, you got this, bro. He's like, dude, this is killing me. I was like, you've been training? He's like, yeah. I was like, dude, I haven't. This is mental, bro. Like your body will try to stop far before your mind will.
Yeah.
Like just stay with me, dude. And he'll keep following me, and then there'll be like 2 other guys. I'm like, hey, dude, you got this. Like, come on, just run, step
Yeah.
up. He's like, all right, let's go. So I'll be running with these like 4, 5, 6 guys, dude, and be like, hey, you guys are good. Like, have you guys been training? Like, yeah, we've been training. Like, you ran 13.1 before? Oh yeah. Then this is nothing, bro. You got this. Like,
Yeah.
let's go. So it's like, I think honestly, as men, like we feel a little bit awkward expressing like encouragement to other men.
Yeah.
And not realizing like most dudes, like I saw the statistic and it was like, I don't remember the exact number, but it was appalling the amount of men who take their own lives every year in this country.
Oh yeah, we did a podcast on it.
I mean, what is it, like 700,000?
Yeah.
300 something thousand? It was in the hundreds of thousands.
It was big.
377,000, I want to say, something like that. Like
gosh,
that
that's
to
I think
me,
it was 700,000 worldwide, and it was like
Okay.
300,000 in the United States.
okay. So yeah, it's like that's
quote me on that.
That's a crazy number.
Yeah.
And
It's
it's like,
insane.
if you ask, like, if you had the chance to talk to some of those men and have them on this podcast, it's like, A, what you're considering taking your life for is probably fixable.
Yeah.
And more importantly, like, I think a lot of men, dude, like, whether we admit it or not, I honestly think that all of our love languages are words of affirmation. Because as boys, we wanted nothing more than our dad to tell us he was proud of us. Our dads don't see that. So now we look to our wives. And a lot of times our wives are too busy, too caught up, too stressed, too this, too that. So I'm like, dude, as dudes, we've got to lift each other up.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, bro, like, dude, I'm really proud of the podcast you guys have built. I'm proud of the message you share, X, Y, and Z. You guys should keep on going, dude. Even on your worst days when your guests ramble on or do X, Y, and Z, like it's still a great episode. You should keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like we don't do that as men because
No,
it's
it's
like,
'cause
what are
it's
you
seen
what are
as
you doing,
weak.
bro?
Yeah,
Like, you
it's
have a
seen
crush
as
on me?
soft, and
yeah,
it's like,
bro.
no.
Yeah, and it's like that's not normal. That's a weird. That I don't know where that comes from, but encouraging someone else or telling someone you're proud of them, like
Yeah.
you don't know, like that could be just enough to keep them going on their worst day. Like we've all heard the stories about the guy who was walking home from school, planned on killing himself, and somebody stopped by and talked to him on the way home. He walked home from school every day as a kid, and somebody walked home from that day. And 3 years later, they found a note in the locker saying, "Hey, like you don't know this, but that day you became my friend. I was planning on killing myself."
Yeah.
Like I'm like, you don't realize the simplest things could save someone's life.
Yeah.
What's up, guys? Jordan here from the Good Dude, Good Dad podcast. Huge shout out to our sponsor, BioPro. Ben and I have been on it for a while now, but I got to tell you this. Nothing is more important to a dad than sleep. We usually don't get a lot of it, and it's usually not great quality. But ever since I started taking BioPro plus cortisol, my sleep has been phenomenal. So go check them out in our show notes down below. There are a few things in life that I enjoy more, and I argue any man enjoys more than a good cup of coffee in the morning. That's why I use veteran-owned and operated Hidden House Coffee. Hidden House Coffee roasts here in Santa Ana, California. They have locations in Santa Ana, San Juan, or San Clemente. But you can go to hiddenhousecoffee.com and use GDGD on your checkout to receive a discount. I highly recommend going with their coffee subscription. But yes, if you want a great cup of coffee, not a good cup of coffee, a great cup of coffee, go to hiddenhousecoffee.com. Thank you to our sponsors, Nex Gen. Nex Gen Industries is committed to advancing longevity, wellness, and strength through precision-driven innovation. Select products are USA finished and manufactured, meaning they are held to a pharmacy-grade, FDA compounding pharmacy standard. Each product is sterile, isotonic, and pH balanced, rigorously tested for purity and quality, and provided a certificate of analysis. That's because at Nex Gen Industries, transparency, performance, and long-term health come first.
No, it's very true. And I think it's just we talk about this, but we're just conditioned as men to think that. And half of
sure.
what we're wanting to do not half. Part of what we're wanting to do with this and having people share like you is breaking that, you know?
For sure.
I used to think the same thing. Like, you could have not paid me to sit here in this room and talk about this kind of stuff 10 years ago.
Sure.
I would have laughed in your face because I would have been like, you're so soft, figure it out.
For sure.
Which is, in fact, why I went through the crazy turmoil I went through, because I didn't have this understanding that, hey, actually, like, if you deal with it, it actually makes you tougher and not soft, you know? But one of the questions we like to ask is, to you, what makes a good dude and a good dad?
What's that?
For you or to you, what makes a good dude and a good dad?
It's a good question. I think what makes a good dude is someone who is grounded and in touch with himself and willing to have conversations and sharing his feelings or thoughts, being transparent. I think transparency is a super misunderstood aspect in relationships and life and in conversing. I think being transparent makes people good people, right? Just being vulnerable, right? So I think that's a big part of it. And just, you know, having that mindset of like, I want to make the world, I want the world to be better because I was here. Maybe I'm not a world leader, maybe I'm not that, but like the people who knew me, like what will my gravestone say, right?
Yeah.
Like I think about it as like, all I want my gravestone to say is loyal husband, father, son. That's it.
Yeah.
What else matters is a good dude. What makes a good dad, I think, is realizing that now there's dumb little fingerprints all over your car and your windshield. Like one day you're going to miss those and wish they were there.
Yeah.
And being like, all right, what can I do now so that I don't miss those moments, but I cherish them?
Yeah.
Right? So being a good dad for me is doing the things you sometimes don't want to do, but know you should.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I tell people. It's like, as a husband, a father, if your goal is to lose weight, if it's to go to the gym, if it's to be a millionaire, if it's to do whatever, I honestly don't think there's a single thing. There's nothing that we don't know how to do.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, are we willing to do it? Do you know how to lose weight? Yeah, it's going to be super hard. I don't want to. Do you know how to be a good dad? Yeah, I think I got to be a good dad by showing up, being there, not getting upset, you know, looking for opportunities to, instead of curse at him, teach him, right? Have a conversation like, hey, do you understand why we don't do that? You know why you don't talk to your mom that way? Like you could get super, like when I was a kid, my dad, if I talked back to my mom, there was no conversation before a backhand. And my dad was a power lifter. He bent like 565 for multiple reps, did all the steroids in the 80s. Like he was a big dude. And it's like, you don't talk back to your mom. And I understood why, but there was no conversation about it. And that's maybe a bad example because I think sometimes, you know, if you are talking about your mom, it can get out of hand and, you know, you got to stop that really quickly. But there's a lot of times growing up where it's like, I wish my dad would have had hard conversations with me. Right? And so I think being a good dad is really looking for ways to teach.
Yeah.
Right? Instead of like, all right, I got home from work, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch. Like, I don't watch football. I'll watch UFC on Saturdays. I usually try to get my boys to watch with me. And I'm not saying you can't watch football. I'm just saying like, it's one of those things where it's like, there's a lot of teachable moments that I think we overstep for comfort.
Yeah.
After a stressful day at work or this or that. And it's like my kid, I told my wife, like, I've got to be able to lift up a giant 4-year-old every time he asks me to until he stops asking.
Yeah.
Right? Am I a perfect dad? No. But I think my goal is to be a good dad and to be a better dad, right? Yeah. Constantly being better, right?
I like it.
I think a great goal, and I took this from when you were saying that you ran the marathon, even, you know, without your son doing it. I think a great goal and a goal that every kid wants, or a dream every kid wants to have, is their dad to be their superhero.
For sure.
And the more things that we can do with this, and this is, I'm sure this is like, people are going to come for us, like for the peak toxic masculinity, is that I think it's a great thing and a goal to want to be your son's superhero and
for
to
sure.
do things that they're like, blow their freaking mind.
Yeah.
You know? I remember my dad doing the littlest things and it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and
That's
having
my dad. Yeah.
Yeah.
the more of those whoa moments you can have on your kid, I think is something that they'll cherish forever.
For sure.
Because like to this day, like I now know that my dad was figuring it out as he went along.
Oh, yeah.
that he did not have everything solved, that he messed up things. But to this day, I'll still say, oh, my dad was my superhero.
For sure.
My dad was my hero.
For sure.
100%. Even to this day, he still is. And I think it's because of moments like that where it's like your dad just does these things where you're just like, wow, that's so cool. And the pride that comes along with that,
For
too.
sure.
Anyway, last question we have is, what is one actionable step that you would give your sons if they want to grow up and be a better dad or be a good dad? How about this? What's one thing that you hope your sons will learn from you when they grow up?
I would say one of the things that I hope that they are conscious of and that they choose to do as men and husbands and fathers is to not shy away from hard things, whether it be conversations with your spouse or leaving that job that you don't love, chasing your calling, right? Like, choose hard. Just always don't make problems for yourself. But if you're afraid of doing something, like that's a good inclination, you should probably do it. If it's like, I'm really afraid to have this conversation with my wife because I think she might get upset with me, it's like, then prepare yourself to like break it down. Like, hey, like, this is really hard for me to talk about, but I feel like it's really important for us to have this conversation. I just want to share how I feel, right? Whether it's you want to start a business and you want to do this, but you're stuck at this job that's paying well, but you're not satisfied and you hate driving to work every day. Like, just, dude, do what's hard. Not what, don't make life more life's going to make it hard enough for you, right? But by avoiding opportunities to improve and to chase your goals, like, you're just like, one of my favorite quotes is by Marianne Williamson. And everyone's heard like the part where she talks about like, our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. It's powerful. We're powerful beyond measure, right? Yeah. If you read that entire quote, dude, there's some absolute fire lines in there, right? And I think about that quote and I share that with people often because it really is one of those things that, like, you know, a lot of times we shrink to protect ourselves, but also we shrink so that others don't feel insecure around us. In the sense of like, there's a light about all of us. Yeah. And a lot of us cap our own lights, right? Like, we're all God's children. That means we have crazy potential, but we squander it because we're either afraid, we're afraid to be judged, we don't want others to feel insecure around us. And it's like, you're doing the world and yourself a disservice. Yeah. Like, dude, be the best person you can be. Like, you are a son of God. Like, what does that mean? Yeah. You know, just go all out, dude. Like, try to be the best you can. Like, am I the best I am today as I possibly can? Like, no. I fall so short. But I'm aware of that, and I've got goals, and I do these things, and it's like, okay, little tweaks, little improvements, you know?
I love that. Little tweaks, little improvements. That's also another thing that lots of people say, like on the podcast, of like, when it comes to the actionable step or trying to change and make a difference, it's, dude, just little adjustments. Oh yeah. You know, little deposits into
baby steps,
the bank
dude.
of you. Yeah.
You know, you've seen What About Bob, right?
Yeah. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
Bro,
movie.
My wife and I say that all the time. Baby steps.
Yeah.
Baby steps, right? Because like, if you try to do too much, you're going to get burnt out.
For sure.
You know, Rome wasn't built in a day. You can't build a brick warehouse in a day. You've got to lay brick by brick. And before you know it, you'll have a warehouse. It might take you a while, but baby steps, right? Yeah. I think you set yourself up for failure when you expect immediate results.
For sure.
Overnight success. Yeah. Like you were saying, you know, and if people are being honest and transparent and open, when you say like, hey, with your success that you've had and where you are at now, it's like, by my definition, I don't feel successful. I feel more stressed out most days than I feel successful. And that's part of being an entrepreneur and a business owner. It's like, you're going to have more bad days than you have good days, right? Like, it's just the way a business is. And maybe not bad, but there's always a fire to put out. There's always smoke. There's always something. And so it's like, by my definitions, I'm not there yet. But to others who think like, oh, dude, you've made it. You've got multiple locations. You've got your own brand. You've got your own shops, et cetera. Like, dude, you're killing it. It's like, not to be a jerk, bro, but like the me 5 years ago would have been in the fetal position in the corner. And now I'm like, what's today? Tuesday? Sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'll deal with this tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, dude, I got sued by some law firm for my website not being
Blind friendly.
ADA,
yeah.
Yes.
We went through that.
What you're saying right now is a conversation that Ben and I have all the time.
Bro, when I first got that demand letter from the law firm for that, I was like, okay, well, hold on. All right, I've got 30 days before I have to respond. Okay, put it away. But before, I would have been like, holy crap, I'm being sued. Oh my gosh, what do I do? Like, now I'm just like, okay, I'll give this to my attorney in 3 weeks and he can deal with it.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like, that was the kind of stuff that, like, as a business owner, your first time, dude, you're going to get, I've had insurance agencies trying to sue me for not doing my audit on time, which I didn't even know was a thing. Like, I've had these weirdest demand letters that as a new business owner would have terrified me. Right. And like a lot of times, like people, one of our, a big name in our industry has become notorious for suing small businesses and small competitors. Okay. And many of these businesses will literally just, we're so sorry. We didn't know we were infringing on your copyright. We didn't know we couldn't sell cookies in boxes, and we'll never do it again. Actually, we're closing our business because we're scared.
Yeah.
Dude, people just shut their businesses.
Them, yeah.
And I'm like, dude, relax, get composed, look at what your rights are. You're going to be fine. Odds are it's a scare tactic to intimidate you to do exactly what you're doing to shut your doors.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to be fine, right? And it's just like, that's a part of business ownership that like nobody can prepare you for. And like all the red tape, all the licensing, all the insurances, all the regulations. And then when they think you're successful, prepare yourself, because if there's not lawsuits, there will be. And they're like, hey, by the way, I'm not successful yet. I don't know what you think I have, but I'm not there yet. You should just slow your roll and like, here's a screenshot of my bank account. I don't have that. Leave me alone. And let me just build this. Right? Like, there's so many landmines, dude. And it's like kind of crazy. It's like, you freaking hear this analogy about crabs, dude? Like crabs in a pot?
Bucket?
Yeah, bro. It's terrifying. It actually gives me anxiety when I hear about that, dude. Like, if one crab is getting out, the other crabs will grab him and pull him back in. And I'm like, let that crab free, dude. He's freaking trying to do something big. Like, let him go. Encourage him, like, cheer for him. But no, we're trying to pull him down so he gets freaking cooked like the rest of us.
It's like, literally the definition of today's society.
1,000%.
100%.
Like, if someone's trying to climb out, unless they're getting out with you because they deserve that seat too, it's like, it's crazy.
Somehow there's this mindset like somebody else's success prevents you from from being successful yourself, right? Like, there's this weird mindset where it's like, well, there's not enough success and money in the world for both of us. And you're doing it. I'm not ready yet, but I don't want you to have it. It's like,
well, I think it's not only that. I think it points out your lack of pushing yourself.
Sure.
It makes them uncomfortable because they're unwilling to. Like they said, the people that have the hardest time with your change are the people that you grew up with, because you guys started at the same place and they're still there, but you're not. And it's that. It makes them uncomfortable that they're not willing to put in the work to get it done.
For sure.
And it's like...
And somehow in their minds, you doing this...
is wrong.
Is not only wrong, but it's a reminder to themselves that they could also do it, but choose not to.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
So if I'm not willing to do this and put in the sweat equity and risk everything, if you get this, then somehow that makes me look bad.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, bro, like what you don't realize is I'm actually doing this for both of us. I want you to be raised up too, either by inspiration or by opportunities that come with my potential success in the future, right? Like, I get it why, like, Kevin Garnett was notorious for like buying a neighborhood for his friends. You know what I mean? Like,
that's pretty gangster.
It is. He bought a whole subdivision for like 15, 20 friends, like gated community.
I
Like,
wish I could do that. That'd be so
we
sick.
all do, bro.
Yeah, that'd be so
I wish
sick.
you could do it too.
Hey, you know what? We're friends now too, buddy.
I respect that. I respect that.
But that's the thing. It's like, I think a lot of us want to get there, but it's like, how many of his friends were like behind the scenes? But man, Kevin's changed. He thinks he's better than us now.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, if you were to just get out of his way and let him be successful, he'd be, hey, bro, like, what do you make on it? I make $60,000 a year. Hey, I'll pay you $85,000 a year starting to do this for me.
Yeah.
Dude, there's opportunities and growth opportunities that come with this if you'll just let the people around you and cheer for your friends who are trying to build something great.
Yeah.
Because if you're their homie at the end of the day, they're going to bring you along for the ride.
Yeah.
Either in opportunities or like, hey, dude, like, I've got a job. Hey, I've got this, right? Like, it's just one of those things, bro, that we don't, there's this lack mindset is crazy to me. I don't understand it.
Rising tide raises all ships.
100%.
If you let it.
100%.
Let it, yeah.
Let it.
100%.
Well, man, thank you so much.
Thanks for having
We
me.
want to be respectful to time, but this was, like I said, not the direction I thought we were going to go today, but
That's
I'm
awesome.
stoked. And honestly, I can't wait to eat another cookie, but I need to eat food first.
What this is shameless plug time. If people are looking to find you or Cookie Co., how do they do it?
Instagram is the best way to find more contact info. Just at Cookie Co. on Instagram is our handle. And then the website's getcookieco.com. I actually had one of our dudes make a promo code for nationwide shipping if your viewers aren't near a Cookie Co.
Awesome.
So the promo code is good10.
Ooh, good 10.
Yeah.
you.
All right.
So you get a discount, and then when you use that promo code, I'll throw in like a hat or a shirt or whatever else into your
Heck yeah.
box. Because my daughter's 14 and she wanted a job. So I'm like, you can start packaging nationwide shipping for us.
Let's go.
That's
So
so
her
cool.
and a couple other employees and myself do that. But
I know,
yeah,
dude, you guys, your cookies are good. I'm looking.
thanks, bro.
I had the
the,
monster cookie and I had
What's the
chocolate
sprinkle
chip.
one I just had? What's the sprinkle?
Frosted sugar.
Frosted sugar.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for a good sugar cookie.
Yeah,
It
dude.
reminded me of the the deliciously disgusting box version you get at a grocery store, but
Oh, yeah.
it's
You like
real
those?
ingredient. I know when I get them, I know it's just fake, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for some reason, it just
It's nostalgic.
it
right?
is. But
What
I know
freaks
it's
me out
disgusting.
is how, and this is going to come off weird. How similar you and my wife are, and you're like one of my best friends, and obviously she's my wife. But you guys like that. I can't stand those cookies.
I don't know what it is. I know taking a bite. I know I'm. It's
My wife won't eat hot dogs, and I love them.
Yeah.
Baseball game or Costco, she's like, I don't know how you eat that. I'm like, I don't know how you don't. Judge me all you want. This is $1.50 hot dog at Costco, and it tastes great.
Yeah, not
love
the
it. I do
freaking
love
like
those
$20 Dodger dog nowadays. or
I love how
whatever
we
it is.
came full circle with the hot dogs. Too.
I know.
Bro, it started with Costco hot dog, me
It's
choking, and it's
ending
ending
with Costco hot
hot
dogs.
dogs.
All right, guys. Well, I will put everything down in the show notes below. Thank you again for listening. As always, be a good dude, be a good dad.